Bear with me.
Bearing. Just kidding. All right.
Here on Facebook. And this is where I blow the secret identity.
Boom!
That did.
Okay. Like awkward thing when
That's a
I'm like
song,
get over
Selena.
that.
There is something.
No,
I
I know.
love
I
that
feel awkward.
song.
I do too. What's the name of that song?
What made you think of that?
I don't know, Rob. I'm in the vibe. Okay, I'm feeling the wave.
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Maybe I should take some RSO to get in the vibe with you. You know,
Do it, Rob. Do it. Get
hold on,
in
I'm
the
gonna go
vibe.
grab it. Come on. Instead of having,
Why not?
We are live.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, we are.
It's,
Hello.
I'm gonna do a proper
Hello there.
introduction live.
I'm taking a little bit of RSO so I can get in the vibe.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
gonna turn my video off and my mic until.
Oh. So I'll give you a proper introduction for the audio, and then we'll just start going.
Awesome. And you don't have to cut that part out. I leave all my shit. I don't care. For me, I mean, if you want it for you, yeah. But I mean,
All
I'm
right.
cool with it.
Okay.
I don't care either. I stay real.
Oh, it's later. We're gonna be a crack up. Welcome everybody back to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. I'm really excited this week, and I'm just about to wrap up my first season, everybody. I have a couple more shows, but I'm really excited this week to have back one of the main reasons for this show is the host of Typical Skeptic, Robert Kalil, and my other surprise guest is somebody I actually met because of Rob Kalil. I met her through the chat on Typical Skeptic, and she is one of the most amazing people, kind, considerate, will help you to any extent that she possibly can. And I'm so honored that this is the first podcast that she's chose to come on and speak. And just to have both of them, I sound like a jabbering idiot right now. So thank you both for coming on. I guess, Rob, we'll start with you. What really got you into the whole podcast thing to begin with?
I think I've said this before, but I was like always a fan of like Art Bell. I used to listen to Art. I mean, like I've always been into like UFOs and the paranormal and like all the mysteries of the world. Like I always wanted to find out what happens to us when we die, and I still feel like I haven't completely found out, even though there's a lot of evidence for this and that. But I mean, like, but no, what it really was is I was listening to Art Bell back in 2001. I had a different girlfriend at the time. She was a little bit younger than me. I was 21, she was 19, so I would have to take her back to her parents' house. And I found this guy talking on the radio in the middle of the night about like the most bizarre stuff. It would always be. I noticed at first it would always be on at like 1 in the morning, and I was like, "What is this?" And this was 2001. This was way before podcasts even like became a thing. So I was like keyed in. I like wanted to know. Then I started. It became like a ritual for me. I started listening to this, and then I found out it was Art Bell, and then I kind of got away from it, but I kind of always followed like UFO radio, and then I had in 2015 I had a reawakening when I heard about the story of the Anunnaki. And then that when I found out about that, that blew my mind. That was I first. I think the first video I watched was the Eagle and the Serpent by Matthew LaCroix, and that's like the eagle's like the representation of Enlil, and the serpent's the representation of Enki. And the story is that like throughout time these are on the cultures of like every flag, and a lot of times in places where the serpent symbol was, the eagle overtook it, because the eagle represented war, whereas the serpent always represented more like knowledge, and that fell in line with the way they were talked about too. And this just isn't Zachariah Sitchin. This goes back to like all the earliest writers. There are people like Samuel Noah Kramer, Oster Henley Rayard, Stephanie Dawley. These were all Assyriologists that transcribed the Sumerian tablets, and they came up with a similar thing that there were these beings that they existed at some point. They called themselves the Anunnaki, or Matthew LaCroix says the Annuna. And yeah, but not to go on a too deep of a rabbit hole about that, but like that was my intro, and then ever since that I started going down all these different rabbit holes like conspiracies, and then in 2020, shit went crazy. Like as we all know, I don't even to go into it. I lost my job and I started interviewing people, and then I never kind of looked back. And then in 2023, I got decent to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to quit my job, and I quit my job completely. And I've been doing this full time for almost 2 years now as my job. It's like, that's why it
Yeah.
sucked to get kicked off of YouTube. I mean, like, well, I'm not completely kicked off. I'm going to be back on there in 2 days, I think. I don't know. I mean, like, unless they find another reason to suspend me. But I mean, like, yeah, I should be back on. So, I don't know. Yeah. But that's kind of my story.
Yeah. So for you, how does it feel? Because like I know Selena's one and I'm one and Spinge is one and even William, our son, is sitting right here. He's one. Now you're that person to other people. And from there, once you answer that, I kind of want to get Selena's take on how she found you, and that kind of ties you guys in together.
Oh, you mean like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Can you rephrase the correct, like, what do you mean? Like,
You were inspired by Art Bell, and now you have that very same draw on people. Like you're the reason I do
oh,
this.
I
You're the
hope.
reason.
I mean, I don't want to be looked at. Like, I mean, I just feel like I'm one of you guys. I feel like I'm just like everybody else. Everybody's friend. I want to be the guy that like you can talk to like in the middle of the night about crazy conspiracies. Like, I just want to be on the same playing field as everybody else. Like but that's great though. I hope people do find motivation. Because like, I came from one thing I haven't told you is I came from a really troubled past too. I was an addict. People probably saw my show that I did with Chastity on unveiling addiction. I was living a really bad life of like, I was out there hustling and doing some really bad shit back in like 2008, 2009. And I had an accident that revamped my life. I had a guy jump in front of my car and kill himself. And it wasn't my fault. There was like a 6 month investigation, but it made me like really look at some things I was doing in my life. And I totally changed my life around. And then I had my awakening in 2015, which really made me change my life around. So yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of my story. And then I heard some people, I'm not going to tell the person's name, but I heard someone say that was on drugs. They saw my story and that made them want to get off drugs. So I hope I'm having a positive effect on people.
You are. You are, Rob. You are.
You know, I don't know.
Selena, I don't know if Rob is what got you into this, but what got you interested in shows like
Hmm.
Rob's and the things that
Well,
you didn't get into as well?
sure. Great question, Don. I would say that, like, actually, it was about 4.5, 5 years ago. And I was watching this show called The Mars Chronicles with my boyfriend at the time. And it was a show that was kind of on the fringe of what I was used to experiencing or understanding as like a human. Like I didn't understand a lot of things they talked about. And at one point they mentioned Dan Willis, and Dan Willis, who is a person in the disclosure movement. Um, I looked up his website and it's like called like Exiting the Matrix or something. I don't remember the exact website now, but anyway, so like I went through this huge rabbit hole where I like went through he said something about actually the secret space program that triggered a memory for me, which I'm still just to this day exploring. But at that time, I had looked up Dan Willis because he had said something in that interview about other members of the community. And then I looked him up, and actually, Rob was the first person I had ever seen that had interviewed him. And then I started following Rob because of that. And then there was this whole path of me coming to a realization of what is reality and what is not. I experienced so many different things like within that entire time period. And it ultimately led to me having this huge, massive awakening and understanding of what reality actually is and my purpose in it.
I love that. You
Yeah.
know,
That is an amazing story, Selena. Like, just and runs kind of parallel to my own. Like, Rob was the catalyst to me understanding my involvement in super soldier programs and things of that
Yeah,
nature. Like, he really, like, again, and I'm not trying to stroke your ego, man. I consider you a friend
I
and a
know, me
colleague,
either. Right.
but like, you really were the catalyst of my awakening. Like, there is an entire trail of the people that are now my colleagues that are responsible for me understanding the things I do.
I
That's
agree with you on that. Me too, Rob. Me too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when did you start coming into your abilities as Selena? Because then you like there was a point where you kind of like
Mm.
your abilities kind of started taking off, and you like you really started to embrace them lately.
Yeah, well, I would say for me personally, that was about a year and a half ago, whenever it really fully came online. And that was because I had reached just the amount of trauma level to like push me into that diamond status. So I would either be crushed or I'd become a diamond. And my only choice was to become a diamond. And so in order for me to survive, I ended up like thinking outside of my regular paradigm of reality and understanding that like if I live my life exactly how I've lived it the rest of my life, nothing will ever change. But if I start looking outside of what I believe is reality and understanding that there are things outside of me that are influencing me, that I'm influencing, then that was the key in me actually being able to have an awakening. And around, I would say it was 2021 in December, it was solstice eve, and I had a major kundalini awakening. And it was a beautiful, amazing experience and something I can't put into words, but it was the major catalyst that helped me change and propel my life to be the best. Because for me personally, my kids have always been my number one motivator, and I have because of my and that's what sucks is because we are always influenced by how we've been raised, and we're always influenced by the things that we maybe not want to share out loud. And for me personally, like I was being influenced to I had to survive. If I didn't change, I would have died. My heart, my soul, my body, my mind, everything. And I just made the choice that I wasn't going to let my kids grow up in a reality that was going to make them miserable. And from that point forward, I decided to completely change everything. And that's when things really started to change, is when I took complete control over my own reality.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
Because now you're one of the people I know, like people that I can count on my hand. I can say like Priscilla, Jamie Jacobson, you, Matthew Mornian, and if I'm forgetting
Woo-hoo.
anybody, you guys can all heal people like, and you can all touch people like you remotely and heal. Like Matthew Mornian's really good at it. You
Yeah.
are, Priscilla is. I know Jamie Jacobson can do it. Like I'm trying to think
I
of who
think it
else.
I
You know,
think for me, it comes from a place of feeling so broken and alone that like nobody was able to like reach out to me and help me in my soul. And I never wanted anyone to feel so alone. So like if I could do anything to help anyone, I wanted to do that because I know how hard it is just to survive in this reality. And I wanted to make sure that I could live my life as a positive influence on people. And if I couldn't do that, then I was failing. That's how I felt at that time, even though that's not real because we all fail all the time, little things, and it's not a big deal. It's okay to fail. And the number one way that we become masters is by trying and trying and trying and failing. And for me, that was I just wanted my kids to have a completely different experience. I didn't want them to grow up with the trauma that I had inside of me. I didn't want to pass that along to them. And that was my biggest motivator was my children.
that's amazing. And the reason why you so says Jason's always cracking jokes in the chat. Jason, I have to say what Jason said. Jason said Rob's collecting infinity stones.
I love
No
Jason.
doubt. Oh,
Jason always makes me laugh. He's hilarious. Like he's always in
Yes.
the Discord too, saying something funny too.
yeah.
He's good. So yeah, but
Oh,
yeah.
I love his comments. You touched on something there, and I'd love to hear what both of you think. That people with a rough upbringing, like I was an addict, I was an alcoholic, I put more snow up my nose than is on Everest, right? And I'm not shy about it. Like
Yeah, right.
I was fucked for a while. Have you guys noticed like an uptick in people with a rough upbringing or a rough past seem to be the ones that are coming online, and the normal people are just kind of still coasting along? Like it seems like the broken ones are the ones that are lighting up.
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's because we've lived a lot of life, so we can kind of see through our trauma, and we're the ones that are like we are the ones, if you want to say it, we're the ones facing our traumas head on, whereas some of these people who are kind of still trapped in the matrix, maybe they could be in therapy or something like that, but they're not really, they're not having discussions like these, because it's discussions like these that really open up your soul to like the next level, and this is what promotes healing. You know what I mean? It's exactly stuff like this that does it. So I think maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. Selena might have a better idea than me, though. I don't know.
I would say for me personally, I feel definitely that there's people who have experienced trauma and people who experience mental illness that cause them. I feel like these people have abilities they're not aware of because nobody teaches us what it's like to be an individual, one of a kind type of human being that has these abilities. And so we reach out and we like stress out. So we're overstimulated within our bodies and our beingness because we don't understand how to actually just be, to let ourselves experience. And for me, this is part of my research because I'm a psychology student. I'm actually a senior in psychology. This is part of my senior project. But I believe that people who have mental illnesses are actually very gifted psychically. And part of the reason why they have these outbursts or areas in which they kind of freak out is because they're overstimulated, and it's overstimulation in a way that they don't understand because we as human beings don't have a way to explain why someone is overstimulated due to psychic stimulus. And for me, I would say definitely 100%. I think that I've experienced mental illness like my entire life since I was a child. And my biggest goal is to help people feel some kind of relief because it's so lonely. Like, and you feel absolutely isolated from everyone else. And what we really need is acceptance, not to feel separated from one another. We just want to feel like we're part of each other.
I
And so I
agree.
feel like once we have gotten to a point where everyone can look at someone else and can take into consideration another person's personal belief systems, not only that is like their culture they in which they were raised in and the way in which that they express themselves. We're all like explaining and talking in these different languages that we don't understand and we don't comprehend because we are told since birth it's in our psyche, it's in our overlord of whatever that is telling us like we have to understand everyone. We have to just fit in, just fit in, just fit in. And everyone is just craving that acceptance that can make them feel like it's okay to be themselves, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it does. And you touched on something there that I actually have a personal theory on. The whole mental illness thing. And I'm going to preface this by saying I lost both of my grandmothers to Alzheimer's. So I say this from a place of understanding. I'm not being ignorant. I honestly wondered when I watched them suffer through their illness if the wordplay that they use for the names of these diseases are right in your face, because Alzheimer's, but my grandma Jacob was traveling back to her younger years. Is it Alzheimer's or Alzheimer's? Right? Is it literally the etymology right in your face? Um,
Right.
Dementia, right? You're seeing into a different dimension. I
Yes.
seriously think some of this, and like especially our elders, because in almost every other culture, our elders are revered and taken care of and taken more seriously when they get a little more lucid in their old age, and in fact are often given positions of power. But in North America, we lock them up, medicate them, and leave them.
Yeah, that's a good point. My grandmother died of Alzheimer's too, and it's weird. They'll see, they'll see angels, they'll see all kinds of stuff. They'll see, like they definitely, it's definitely something weird they're experiencing. I don't think that's something just with the brain. I think that's them experiencing like multidimensional, some kind of multidimensional awareness too. But maybe they're also getting ready to transition too. So maybe we have it confused with something like you said. That's a good point, Don. I never really thought of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think like what I think is basically like I'm trying to think of how to put this into words, but like I think that like we all, like I said before, we are all seeking acceptance, like community with one another, because like as human beings, like we are meant to, and we need connection with one another. And even if it's superficial, we still seek it out, because we are beings of pattern. And I feel like for me, I feel like we have to like give our elders a chance and let them know like what's going on, because a lot of times all they really want is someone to acknowledge where they're at right now, you know because all this stuff, like our time is our most valuable commodity, and how we spend our time, it's important, and the people that we spend it with, they're important, and we should always think about everything that we do as being very purposeful. And if we can't do that, then I think that we can take a step back and evaluate like what we're doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it. And I don't know if that answered your question. I'm sorry. Sorry,
It
Don.
it it did. I want to jump back to something because you guys were talking about energy healing and especially Matt Morney. And I just would like, I want to give a shout out because that guy has no
Yeah, he's
filter
awesome.
of him for it. I would just like to hear how he's personally affected both of your lives because I'm actually getting geared up once we get all this truck thing situated to get my first healing session from him. Oh, you're muted, Rob.
Hey, I consider Matt like a brother because I got to meet him in person, and then when I went to the conference, and like you meet like him and his wife, like you might meet him and his wife or whatever, and like they're just as cool. I resonated with them the most out of anybody I met at the conference, and I hung out with them a lot. And like when we did some healing stuff at the conference, like he hooked me up to a Rife machine, and totally for free, because he just wanted to help me, and and then when we got back from the conference, I was having some issues, and he did a healing session on me too. He's very high level. He has a very high understanding of like the body mechanics and stuff, and and psychic abilities and how to open them up and how to tap into them. And he can also like remove implants and stuff like that, and like he's very multi gifted in many levels. So he's had a really positive impact on my life. He's him and his wife. They're great people. They really are.
They
They're
are.
they're some of the nicest people you ever meet in your life, I always say.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. And I would say for me, and I'm in the Patreon group Blue Flame Collective, what's up? But like um I would say for me personally, when I first got involved in all of this stuff, and it was very confusing because I was basically doing it on my own. Nobody helps me, nobody told me what's right, what's wrong. And in the beginning I got involved in some groups that made me feel really isolated, alone, and stupid, frankly. And when I found Matthew, it was on his YouTube through some meridian clearings and different things that he did like that. And then I joined his Patreon. And for me, like my biggest growth happened when I started paying attention to my energy centers in my body, and I started to really clear like where it was at, like within my own body here. And I remember, and I don't think that even my first Kundalini awakening, which happened on Solstice Eve, would have happened without going through that experience where I had watched his videos and cleared myself to that extent, because I feel like he's been very instrumental, not only in my growth, but also in many other people's growth, because Matthew and Honora are very, very genuine people who really care about people, and they really love people, and they really want them to grow. And I was drawn to that because I had experiences with a lot of people that I felt like very outcasted by because I didn't agree with their narratives. And he framed it in a way where it was like, if you have doubts about something, it's okay. And that made me feel like, you know, I'm okay where I'm at. And that ultimately led to me to being where I am now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and think about how many other people he's had an effect on. It's just affected just like you, Selena.
For sure.
And that
Hmm.
right is like we need that in this time because like we're in a mass awakening where a lot of people are starting to question that, and a lot of people are
You're
coming to
right.
new abilities. So
Yeah,
it's like
completely.
someone like him is perfect for this point in time that we're in right now. You know.
Yeah, yeah, completely.
Um, you were talking about implants, and that's something I forgot to mention when I was on your show. Is I want to get Matt to check because something kind of funky happened when I was having that whole cardiac incident, is the way they phrased it. Um, when they hooked me up to the thing, it said I had a pacemaker.
What?
Yeah, it kept Spinges in the kitchen. It kept registering that I had a pacemaker. And when the one guy asked the other guy like what was going on, they both started looking like nervous as shit. Right? Like I don't
Wow.
know if I have something in me that's not supposed to be in there, but the cardiac machine registered something in my torso as a pacemaker.
Holy shit, Don. That's huge, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. I don't even know
So
what to say.
I definitely want to have Matt have a look at that, or if anybody wants to read if there's something in there, because that one kind of freaked me out. Like that's their own equipment saying there's something inside of me that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Right. I brought my cards in case anybody wants a reading, but I didn't know what we were doing, so I don't know.
No. Um, do you want to talk about your energy work, and then maybe you should read Rob?
What do you want to know about my energy work?
What I know you've helped Rob, and I know you've helped Spinja and I. What got you into that, and where did you learn? How did you get into this? What did you study?
Okay. Um, Really, that's kind of a complicated question because what really got me into it is realizing that I was being systematically abused by every single relationship that I had gotten myself into. And I had decided that I was no longer going to be a victim of abuse. And at that time, I had been looking around and seeking out and within my heart and soul, like, what can help me? What can I do? And at that time, at that very beginning of that time, I had been watching Danny Henderson's channel, and she had a guest on there named Chris Lamont, which was her mentor. And she, within the chat that I was in, she posted his information, and I reached out to him. And I reached out to him because I had realized at that time that I had gotten myself in a really bad situation with the person that I was with because it was psychologically abusive, it was physically abusive, it was all the abusives. And he helped me to gave me the tools I needed in order to frame my own response to things. So like for example, he made me feel safe to like question why is this and why is that, and that's why I ultimately decided like fuck this shit, I'm gonna do my own thing, and then I did. And then throughout all of that, I eventually kind of with I outgrew like the person I was with, and I started like growing and changing and evolving into like more of the person I am today, even though I was not there yet. But it opened up something for me that I could change, and it opened a pathway that there was a door out there that I could escape from. And because my like I said, my main motivator has always been my children because I don't ever want to pass on to them my own ancestral problems, any of my own fears, any of my own issues to them. And he just started talking to me, and eventually I learned through, he put me through these classes, and eventually they led to me really evolving as a human, and stepping outside of what I thought was normal for me and becoming something other than myself. And I really attribute a lot of what I've been able to accomplish to Chris Lamont, because he's helped me quite a bit. Quite a bit. And I'm annoying sometimes. And I'm a lot to handle. And he still helped me, And he made me feel like, it's these toxic patterns that have been built upon all this time of me growing and not knowing that they were toxic. And that's what caused me stuck in this matrix of reality, because I didn't understand how to step outside of it, if that makes sense to you at all.
Yeah.
It does. Um, that actually hits on a really good question that I wanted to ask both of you. And Rob, I actually kind of get to flip the script because it's something I've talked about on your show. Do you think we're in a simulation or a holographic projection?
100% for sure. Something. I just don't know what it is yet. I don't know what's going on. Like I don't know if we're like, like I don't know if we're like awake somewhere behind it, and we're like, and that would be our higher self, and that's like feeding us information, or if this is like some kind of game, or if it's just like but I'm almost convinced that it is. I think we definitely lived a lot of lifetimes here, for sure, and I definitely think it's holographic. I go back to my DMT experience, and I've talked about that before, but like honestly, like like everything looked holographic when I was coming off it. Like I think there's and every time that I did it like 30 times. Someone sent me a DMT pen, so I was doing it every day. But I mean, like I was because I wanted to try to go to another dimension. I really wanted to go. I really wanted to experience what it was like to go to another dimension. And every time, like when I was coming off it, things looked holographic. It was strange. Like it was freaky, but it was definitely. I definitely think we are. There's a good book. It's called The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. Gerald Clark first told me about, or I found out about it from watching Gerald Clark. But I mean, it's really good. That'll get you thinking too. And then I was able to have like people like Richard Allen Miller on my show. He wrote a paper on the theory of the holographic universe. And yeah, it makes me think it's weird that like Earth. Sometimes I think like, why are we here? Like, like if aliens are coming interdimensionally or whatever, and they haven't been able to find any signs out in space, where are people going that are in the secret space program? Because I definitely feel like they're going somewhere. Like whether it's to another dimension, that's like layered upon this reality somewhere, or if they're actually going to actual space, and there's people who have different opinions on what's going on there. But I mean, there's so much that goes into it, like, yeah, because there's like, you have the holographic aspect of this reality, the matrix, you have, the interdimensional aspect to this reality, and then where are all these things coming from that come into our reality, like these creatures, I have more questions than I have answers, but it's definitely like, yeah. Yeah, Selena, I don't know if you wanted to add to that or whatever you think is going on.
Yeah. And the question was, do I think that the Matrix is. Can you repeat the question, John? I'm sorry.
Do you think we're in a matrix or a holographic projection, like a simulation?
Okay. I thought that's what you asked. So here's what I actually think. I think that so we're always in kind of multiple dimensions of reality. And this reality is the most grounded reality, because there's most people that have supported the existence of it within this very existence of how we are now. So, because of that, this reality is the most grounded in truth. So, I believe that our reality is changeable within us and by us, depending on if we're willing to do the inner work, the outer work, and if we're able to give and like we're if we're able to experience what is real and what is not real within the lenses of our own reality without anchoring into it. So yes, we have complete control on what we see and what we do not see, but it all relies within our hearts, our souls, and our minds, and where we're at and where our growth is at. So if we in ourselves have not experienced, say, for example, community or like the feeling of everyone supporting us, then our reality is going to either give us challenges to that or give us the experience of that. And how we feel inside and how we've experienced and grown within ourselves is going to provide that reality to us. So it's very much existent upon how we perceive, not only within our minds and our hearts and our souls, but how we see ourselves too, experiencing this very reality at the same time.
I think that's pretty good. And Rob, with what you were saying about the secret space program, and also kind of ties into this, is with my experiences in the secret space program, I feel as though it's a different stage of my conscious existence, right? And I think it exists in a different reality. But I think because it's a different variation of me, we're receiving the same frequency from whatever sends us our information that makes us who we are, right? And I think sometimes there's bleed through or overlap. And that's what, like, multi-dimensional experiences, like what Karen Holton talks about, secret space program stuff, I think that's all a variation of the same
Yeah,
thing. And I think we've lost the ability to be able to select the channels that we're on, because I think we have that ability as well. I think what it is it's all different variations of your own frequency that exists in different realities. And we used to be able to just kind of skip and go and experience whatever we wanted to. It's another one of the abilities that's been stripped away from it. Just my current understanding and crazy theory, but
Yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, yeah, because it makes me wonder, like, what, like if we are here alone, like on Earth, it would make sense that we're in some kind of prison planet or something, you know? Because like, we're not supposed to be able to access the dimensions, but like people are starting to access now. People are starting to have these experiences, so that does make sense, you know? Like, you know, but I feel like like maybe that was designed. Like the whoever made this realm did it on design for us not to know about these things, you know, like maybe we've been hijacked along the way, like by some like negative alien force, like that like doesn't want the best for us, but like humans are starting to evolve because maybe there was a benevolent force too. And that goes back to like the whole Anunnaki thing. Like if they were real, was Enki the good one and Enlil the bad one? Like it makes you think, like, and then their sons and stuff, and they appointed kings. Like they had the Sumerian kings list. They appointed all demigod kings. So they picked the people they wanted to rule, and then that if you trace those bloodlines go from Sumeria to Egypt to Saudi Arabia to places in Europe over to the royal families, and then that traces over to our American presidents. So all those bloodlines are connected the whole way back to the Anunnaki. And I think like every U.S. president is related to every single U.S. president, even Trump. Like they're all related. It all goes back to this one president, or one king in England. I can't remember his name. Billy Carson said that. It's
yeah.
interesting. It's also interesting how 800. I always say this: how 800 families control 8 billion people. Think about that for a second. If you put that into perspective, like it's like, why are we letting that happen? Like I think we're starting to wake up and we're starting to, but I like, I hopefully their game's over, like hopefully like we're entering a new life world where like we'll see some like closure to these old paradigms and like the old stuff will fall and, like, and I think we kind of have to be the way showers for that, that's kind of like our responsibility. Because like if you ask me like what was it like when I first started up having a podcast, like I wanted to talk about like UFOs and the paranormal, but then now I've gotten so much deeper understanding of things and it's a bigger game. Like we're a part of something huge. Like when we talk about disclosure, it's like there's so many different facets involved, and we have to be like the way showers for like this new reality that we want to be a part of. I don't know if that made any sense.
It does. And you touched on something there as well that kind of leads into my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours on it. I seriously have been kind of just going over this in my head, and I think the societal construct that we live in now and the modern convenience that we're handed is the actual trap. That's what's keeping us here. We're not supposed to live compacted on top of each other in cities. We're not supposed to have all the, like, all of our technology is a cheap byway version of what we can actually do, right? So we get those things through society by being closer and blah, blah, blah. But we actually used to have these abilities, right? So they've dumbed us down. And I don't mean just you and I mean over the last 5, 6, 7 generations, everybody stopped doing everything for themselves. And you
Yeah.
just become complacent and reliant on a system. Well, nobody knows how to sew their own clothes. Nobody barely knows how to cook their own food, fix their own car, and they've made that almost impossible to fix your own damn car. I'm just going to say that as somebody that grew up under the hood of one, right? Um, Nobody can do anything for themselves anymore. You are compliant and reliant on the system, and that's what's keeping us trapped, right? Even ourselves, right? Well, I'll just use us as an example. We had $14,000 paid off on the truck that got written off. That's gone. And we had to refinance $9,000, right? So we just got sucked right back into the system,
Yeah.
right? And it's a huge fucking trap. Pardon my language, but it is.
It really
The
is, and it seems like sometimes it feels like there's no way out. You know, like or they make it really hard for us to get out. You know, like it's like it's I do I feel you. I don't even have a car right now. I know, you know what I mean. Like I don't even have a car right now, and it's like, it's like it's hard to get, once you lose your car. It's hard to get a new one, and it's like, it's constantly like you're fighting to pay bills and like, and just exist. And then I totally agree. It's because they have us relying on their system. That's all done by. I have no doubt that's all done by design. That's all done by design. They want to make it so hard for you to even think that you can't even start to, like they don't want us thinking about these bigger issues of life, because then if they know that we'll finally come to a great understanding that we don't need them, that we can kind of, and people start to wonder about how to not just escape their control, but eventually escape this reality. Because if we are prisoners in a prison planet, like people are starting to wake up, and like it's like the prisoners are upset and they want some retribution for like all the times we've been reincarnated and like put through hell here. I you know
Yeah, completely.
you know
and I think that's absolutely right, though, Rob. Like, we are given just enough information in the public education system that we don't question the information that we're given,
yeah.
right? One of the rabbit holes I just fell down was reality being a biomolecular construct, right? And
What's that mean? I don't understand. Like, what does
okay,
that mean?
everything in
I
this
know what
universe,
you
everything in this universe consists of molecules or ions or quarks, right? Even you and I, even with
Yeah.
your DNA experience, I think what you were seeing was the molecular construct of the reality surrounding you, right?
That's interesting. Yeah.
You were seeing the projection,
mean.
and the
Yeah.
way that projection actually collapses upon itself is because of the frequency we're receiving from a higher intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Because if you've read the double slit experiment, molecules behave in a certain way once they've been observed, right? If you
Yeah.
just shoot
Hmm.
molecules something, they'll just go willy-nilly. But if you watch them, even with a mechanical device, they collapse upon themselves and
Yes.
perform perform the way they're expected. So where it gets even crazier is, like, you think about what you're taught in the public education system about even sex ed, right? What do you know about sex ed? Mommy and daddy get together, do some wiggling, and out comes a baby, right? It's a sperm and its egg, right? Well, where did it come from before that, right?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Where did it come before that? What was it? It was a molecule. It developed from carbon, right? How did that carbon know how to create a brain?
Yeah, see, that's why I think there has to be some kind of higher intelligence that made us, or
Exactly.
it has to be. Because I always look at it like this, Don. I'm not as like eloquent as words with you, but I feel like, like the brain is like a computer, like, and like the heart's like a pump, like the heart pumps the brain like full of blood, and like, and they all like and then you have like the parts of the body that clean the body, like it's like somebody said the other day, they said like the shitting's weird to them, that like we have to like shit and clear this stuff out of our body. I find it
Yeah.
strange too. It's like the body's definitely like a big computer. Like it's like a big machine where it's like we were been given a machine, and then our souls are like inside this machine, and we have to learn how to navigate this world. And it's like, but someone did say that they were like, yeah, I thought that was funny. They're like the shitting's. I think it is weird too. You know, that like we, you know, like because I think we definitely were done by intelligence design, but like you'd think that they could do like a little bit of upgrades. You know, like I don't know.
Well,
What do you?
I think so too. But like when you think about where it all started, at one point you were a single celled organism that knew how to create Rob. You found another cell to collaborate with, and those two cells created your brain, your heart. You want to talk about intelligent design? That's in two fucking molecules.
That's
That's all
insane.
it takes, right? Your your mom and dad didn't exchange a brain; they exchanged a couple of molecules, and that's what developed into a human. So the molecules knew how to make the human.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ever has projected this frequency and onto the sentient plane of like that's my best guess is like it's like a giant flat plane of sentient ions because otherwise I don't understand how all of this can be so intelligent. Like every cell in your body knows what to do. Every cell on earth knows what it is,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what's your take on the construct of reality, Selena.
No, that's a big question. Sorry my phone died for a second, but can you reframe your question so I can, because I came in later. I'm sorry.
No worries. um like basically how do you think this is all working? Like is
Mm.
it a projection, is it molecules, is it a program, is it, what do you think?
I think that it has a lot to do with, so let me try to explain this in a way that can make sense to everyone. I think that it has a lot to do with what we're carrying around with us. So, depending on the things that we've healed from, things that we've avoided, the things that we um, ran from, the things that we have chosen, I think that everything has dependent upon our choice and our perspective. And within our perspective is the ability to perceive and change reality, but only through the growth that it takes to change that reality to overcome. So for me personally, like I used to have a lot of visibility wounds. So like I never wanted anybody to see me. And I would always purposely try to hide or like look crappier, shittier, just like, a version of myself that I didn't necessarily align with because I thought like, well, if they see me as this, then I will never have to like try more. And I think like everything is dependent upon our perspective. So if we decide that this reality is a prison planet, or if we decide this reality is changing us for the better, or if we decide that anything that we decide can be used against us, and it is used against us. Like, just like anything you can or say, do will be used against you in a court of battle. Like you just read the
Wow.
same thing, and everything is used against us. And the only way that we can really heal and change is if we have the ability to pay attention and notice the things that are causing us that turmoil. So it's not necessarily about healing, it's about the noticing of it. So the very first step in healing is noticing the bad behavior. Like say for example, I want to change being bitchy to my kid. I don't know. I'm just saying something random, like then I would have to first recognize, hey, I'm kind of a fucking bitch to my kids. And then from that point, I would have to decide, hey, I don't want to be like that. Like, how can I change? And I have to overwrite a new pattern onto the old pattern that I had already put. But the thing is that these patterns that are placed upon us and that we have within us are not only because of us, they're because of ancestral and people that have came before us and that we kind of agree upon a reality. So as soon as we are able to have enough of us agree upon a certain reality being different, that's how reality can change.
I love that.
I hope that makes sense.
It does.
It yeah, absolutely does. And I like it because the way my like high school dropout brain registers that is like, okay, so reality is like a giant choose your own adventure. Like
It
every
is.
selects a little bit of a different timeline. And
Mm-hmm.
I've a few people say like we all live in our own different reality.
We do.
We're just on the same planet,
We
right? Because
are. Exactly.
I take Rob's show differently than you take Rob's show than you know
Exactly.
Sheba in the chat takes or Woo takes it. Like everybody gets the information just slightly differently, even though it's the
Mm-hmm.
exact same thing.
And they're interpreting in their own unique senses, and they're and based upon their own unique belief systems, based upon their own unique ways in which they were raised. And there's so many factors that you have to take into consideration that not everyone's going to think exactly the way they do. And in fact, nobody can because we all speak our own individual languages. Like that's the biggest thing about humanity: the way we perceive and interpret language, the things, even the basic things that people say, is so completely different than one person to the next. And I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration.
That
Yeah.
you're dead on there. Shoot, I lost my place here. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
No, I lost my place. I just had a moment. Um,
Senior moment. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
it's getting gray. Uh,
Because we're in our 40s.
something I've never heard actually explained, and I know Selena, you do energy work, and Rob, you've had lots of people on your show that have probably explained this to you. What are archons? Because I no idea.
Oh, archons, I can explain that. Oh, so okay, archons go back to the Gnostic tradition. Like if you study the Gnostic tradition, they talk a lot about the archons, and basically the archons were like a creation of the demiurge. So the demiurge was like what the Gnostics believed was like a false god of this reality. You could almost say that the Gnostics were like some of the first people to believe that we were in a simulation, but they had no words to express it. They thought that there was something wrong with this realm, and they thought that there was possibly a god that was, that created this realm that was like that was the demiurge. They call it the demiurge, right? And from the demiurge, the archons were created. And who the archons are they're entities that basically interfere in your life. They can lose feed off you. They create, they like to create havoc in people's lives. They I mean, some people say they look like parasites. Or some people have weird drawings from it. Some people say they're like life-size aliens. Some people say they're etheric. There's a lot of different theories as to what they really are. But I think they're definitely things. Something's out there. I think entities are a real thing, though. Like whether they're archons or something else or demons. Yeah. It's what do you think, Selena?
About the archons?
Yeah.
Mm. Well, I think that the archons are kind of like the mischief stirrers. They're the ones that are trying to turn humanity's head into away from awakening and into more of being stuck in their traps. So I think that the archons are basically like not neutrality, but I can't think of the word. Um, just they want us to be stuck in our old ego modes of ways of thinking so that we don't ascend to who we're supposed to truly be, because the fact is that humanity and its potential is so amazing that like nobody can get in the way of that. If a person really decides, hey, you don't control me, fuck you, suck my dick, then like they can be anything they want to be. But if they like follow along with like what is mainstream or what is um the right, mainstream way of thinking, I think that can be an archon too. Because the fact of it is like there are these archon type entities and realities within all of us that we face every single day. Do we succumb to what this matrix reality wants us to do? Do we succumb to giving into these egoistic traits of like what we feel like we need to do, or do we rise above it and become something other than that? So I believe that the archons are just really trying to keep humanity stuck in habits that don't support them and don't make them better people.
Jason H just asked, have there been any good archons?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think that there's archons that are good. I mean, I think that like no matter like there's going to be good and evil and everywhere, and like there's nowhere that you could say like, hey, I do this, so like everybody's evil, or in this area like everyone's evil. Like I think that there are archons who work for the good of humanity, who maybe they don't know that they're like helping change the direction of humanity, but they do, definitely.
I agree with Selena, but there's also a theory that like people say that like some of these entities could be like all one and the same. They say think that angels and demons like could all be playing us. Like, but like I don't like to
Yeah,
believe that. Like I don't know. I want to hope that there's like something benevolent out in the world. You know, like something that
there is.
like I don't know. I mean, but I am weary of. I mean, I do have some channelers on my show, but I'm weary of like some people that are channeling entities and what information they're getting. You know, like because
Yeah,
you gotta watch for that stuff because like an entity will pretend like Tony Sayers talks about this. An entity will pretend to be your best friend. It'll start giving you good information, but then it'll turn on you. It'll give you bad information at one point to where it's like a real detriment. You know, and
completely.
uh, so I don't know. I mean, so I think there can be. I think I agree with Selena. I think there can be good and bad entities. You know, it just depends on what we're connecting with, and like it all depends on like what kind of work you've done too. Like this kind of agrees with Selena says too. We have to do like the inner work and the shadow work. And once you do that and you start opening up your psychic abilities, you're able to discern for yourself what's a more positive entity or negative entity, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
I agree
I
with
think,
Rob, and yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just agreeing.
I was just gonna say that, like, like certain people align themselves with either being service to self or service to others, and I think that you can know whether or not someone's good or bad or neutral if you really feel into them. But the only way to really know how to do that is if you get within a point within yourself where you can actually start to trust yourself, you know? Because
Yeah.
all of us can say like feel into yourself or like trust yourself, but like many times the problem is that there's so many people that are taught like a wrong way of feeling into themselves, you know? And so I say like to that, like you really have to have an ability to know if you're being trapped or if you're being set free, you know, because like anything that's for your favor is going to give you a way out, and anything against you is going to trap you more within the matrix of the reality that you've created within your mind to keep you in that exact same place, you know, and having the discernment to be able to understand, is this for my best interest or is this for my detriment? Because there are always two sides out there, and we are in a spiritual warfare, and there are sides that are going to be working for you and against you. And knowing how to figure that out within yourself takes a lot of work. You know, there are so many people who are high up in the community that you would say like, oh, they're so evolved, like they're always doing well. Fuck that. No, they're not. Like they're like some of these people are fake as fuck, you know? And fuck them for being like that. And fuck them for like trying to pretend like everything's love and light. It's not. It's a fucking constant fucking daily warfare. And the whole reason that you know that you're doing okay is because you're questioning yourself. Am I doing okay? Am I all right? Am I a good person? Bitch, you're doing good. If
You know,
you're thinking that,
you know,
you're doing good, okay? Because like people who are trying to purposely fuck up and fuck shit up for other people aren't asking themselves if they're doing all right and if what they're doing is helping people or not. And I hope that helps somebody out there.
I wanted
Because
to. I was
I thought that a long time.
So something that I can say that like kind of sums up a lot of this discussion is like that when what I was trying to say when I went to see the movie Wicked today. So like I can pull a metaphor from it. So like in the movie Wicked, you start to the girl's like green and she's like it's the what she's supposedly the person that turns into like the Wicked Witch, right? Or who they call the
I love
Wicked.
Wicked. Hmm.
Yeah. So like what happens is like, you find out that she has these powers or she has magic, right? And then she gets invited to see the wizard, right? So her and her best friend, they go see the wizard and they find out that the wizard, he's like controlling this is what I took from it. The wizard, he's controlling this whole city of people, but it's a bunch of like shits and charades and stuff. Like he's controlling everything and he's using technology, right? And she finds out that she's the one who possesses the real magic, but then they turn on her and they make her out to be a wicked witch, so there's a lot of things there. It's like how like the controllers are controlling us with like technology, and they don't have the magic, we have the magic. That's what I took from that. And I was like, I hope people in the mainstream world see that movie and they take that from that, like that, like the puppeteers that are playing the puppet strings, that are behind this reality, they don't have the magic, they don't have the creative spark that we have, and I think that's kind of what I took from that. I don't know if that made any sense.
It totally does, and it does reflect on society because I've had this conversation with Frank Castle before. Is like they try to manipulate us that are spiritually aware because we're creator beings and they can't, right?
Yeah.
They they need us in basically creation autopilot, and they affect our moods and all of this other crap, and just basically, like you said, pull the strings and make us do the magic.
Yeah. Yeah. You use our creative spark, right? Yeah, it's exactly it. You know.
Yeah. Um, you mentioned earlier, and this kind of goes into the controllers, the families. What is your take on all of their Rothschilds just kicking it off? Like, what are we at? 8 or 9 of them now that have died?
I
And
say fuck around and find out, bitch.
I love Selena Unhinged. Oh shit! But Rob, do you think there's any type of collusion or something suspicious about all of that family that just seem to be checking out and leaving?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough. Maybe it's because they're just so old. They're clinging on the power. They're old. But I'm sure they have people. The thing that I've noticed about these people that control the world is they're very organized. So like, they're not just gonna die and leave the planet to us. They got people underneath them, and people they have all their ducks in a row. Whereas like people in the UFO community can't even get along over like whose disclosure is right and this and that. It's actually embarrassing, honestly. Like, and look, I'm friends with everybody in the community. I really am. I'm friends with everybody. Like, I like everyone. I don't like, well, there's a couple people and I'm not going to name them because I'm not, trying to cause any problems, but like, people have been outspoken about a couple people on my show recently. Maybe I share some of those beliefs, maybe I don't. But what I'm saying is like, I think
Yeah.
we need to be more organized as a community and come along. That's why I'm happy there's shows like Nate's and Arkeem's where they're trying to like bring people together and like and I do that too. On my show I try to have like some panels and stuff every once in a while, and you know I mean, yeah. So yeah, I think we need to do more of that. And we need to try to like organize more so we can get past the controllers, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, not only are we fighting with each other, they're Olivia Jane Project Oblivion. Like, they're we're not just fucking with each other; they're doing it too, and we're doing it for them. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
That's
muted,
what they
Celine.
want. They want us to fight with each other so that we are weaker as a community, so that they have ways to infiltrate and come into our minds. Like it's all an elaborate mind game. And that's what this like warfare is. Like they have people set up to key into individual people, to key into people who are important within this community, to take them down and cause doubts and chaos within their minds in order to make them not strong enough to help be a shoulder for another person to cry on. And I say for all those pedophiles who are fucking dying, fuck you. I hope you do, motherfucker, bitch.
I agree. That Selena said it really well. Yeah, like
Absolutely. Oh, speaking of the devil, you missed it. Matt Mornian is actually in the chat. Dude, you need to go back and watch. We were just kind of
Hi,
singing.
Matthew.
there's a lot of people. Christy Campbell's in the chat. Good to see you. So Christy and Selena did some really good artwork for me. Like they made the reptilian shirt, which I haven't sold any of those shirts yet. I don't think a lot of people get it, But I thought that
I,
people would at least like the artwork, and want a reptilian T-shirt. But like maybe Trap House Reptilian is too much for people to like. They're trying to put it together, and they're like, what? Like I don't know,
Well,
like.
I think that people are going to get it, but like people also are struggling with their finances and just like being able to afford groceries. Like, for example, like just think about the holiday that just passed us and how like extremely crazy the prices were. And like, like even having like a small gathering like ends up costing so much money. So people want to invest their time and money in things, but one of the ways in which I believe that the archons or whatever you call them are getting in the way of people is by causing all these doubts and well, I can't afford this or I could never do this because of this, because of this, because of this. And the doubt causes it seeds like all these other doubts and it causes people to feel like they're not safe within making choices with about their money about anything and so people are afraid to do that but I think that like people will buy the shirt I hope so and if they don't that's okay too. I mean hopefully you do for
Yeah,
Rob but
come out with
you
something.
know um
Come out with
yeah and it's just like people don't resonate with it, that's okay, it's just part of life. Like sometimes people are just subjective and not everyone's going to get it you know
Yeah.
It's all
Maybe
right
we
and
should
that's
come
all
up with like
right.
a Christmas alien too. Like a Christmas
Yeah,
alien shirt or something, or maybe
I
getting
would do
like
that.
Santa getting abducted by aliens or something. Like that'd be a good shirt.
Totally, totally.
yeah. You know what? I'll figure it out after my next pay. I screwed up and put my sweater in on too high a heat and melted it. So I need a new sweater. I'll be the first one to order the Trap House Alien. I don't give a shit. I like
Dude,
like
I feel, like I just want to say also, I don't know who's all going to see this because I haven't been on YouTube in 8 days. Like for people that don't know, I've been suspended from YouTube for 8 days under unjustified, pretenses, but I won't get into that. I'm happy to be a
Mhm.
YouTube partner, so if they see this, I'm not complaining. But anyway, they tried to take my entire channel down. That's a whole different discussion. Like I had to appeal and I won, and it was like, but it was traumatic and it was crazy. But anyway, what I was saying was, there's an issue with the merch. Like, like people are buying merch and they aren't getting their merch for like 2 months. Like, I have no control over that. That's Teespring. I don't know what's going on with that company. If there's a problem with the company or what, but like people are messaging me saying, "Hey man, I ordered a mug a month ago and I haven't got it." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like I messaged them. I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" I'm like, "You're ruining my reputation." So I've thought about taking my merch somewhere else. So if anybody has any good ideas on where to take their merch or their designs, let me know because I might be leaving Teespring. But I'll make sure everybody gets all their merch first. Yeah, but it's crazy. But even Susan's in the chat. Susan's in the chat. Emma the Cat and Friends is here. Hey Emma, I love her channel. I always give her a shout out. She has
I
a
am
animals channel. She posts about her dogs and cats, and she has dogs and cats and Muscovy ducks, and they all interact together. You know what I mean? It's hilarious. Like if you ever just
that.
want somewhere you just like looking like, oh, that's interesting. It's like it's really cool. I don't know. Uh,
Uh, with what you were saying about your merch there, though, it's something Spinja and I have talked about. To be honest, you're at the stage of having a standalone website, dude. You've reached that level of popularity before YouTube fucked with you. Didn't you just hit 20,000 subscribers?
yeah, I
And
did.
even on Rumble, like your chats have like 40, 50, 80 people in them on Rumble. That's unheard of, dude. You're at the point, in my personal opinion, and we can check chat, of having your like own standalone website.
Yeah,
I
I got
agree.
it.
I agree with you. I've actually suggested the idea that Rob could have his own website and then people can subscribe to his content from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I try to have a lot of different stuff. I have Patreon, but I don't post much on Patreon. I got, with the only problem with having a website is like I guess when you post videos on websites, you have to have bandwidth and stuff like that. Like, so you have to pay for bandwidth. So I don't know how much that would cost, but like, it is something to look into. There's so much stuff I want to look into. Like, heck, Don, I'm trying to just figure out how to send an audio message back to Chris from Forbidden Knowledge News, like, which I wanted to ask you about. So Chris messaged me, and I guess he's on Spreaker too, and he said they're starting to do ad exchanges with people. Like, like I would make an ad for Forbidden Knowledge News and put that on my audio podcast, and he makes one for me and puts it on his podcast. I got a
Yeah.
and he was trying to explain to me how to do it, but I didn't get it. Like, I'm not sure how to do that on Spreaker. I got to figure that out. Like.
I'll help you figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because he's a good guy. I want to, if he
Oh, I
sees
know.
this,
I like him.
figure it out. It's not that I haven't wanted to do it. It's just like I don't know how. So like,
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
like technology. Um, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, some stuff tough to technology I can figure out really good and easy. But in other stuff I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this is fun though. I honestly love this because we can talk about anything. Like these are the best
Yeah.
conversations. I really do truly believe that. I'm so glad you decided to do a podcast too, Selena. This means you can come on mine now all the time. If you
Yeah, I will. I'll come on yours next, Rob.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
I have my cards, but like nobody.
We,
I
we have
mean,
Do a
I didn't.
reading
I
for
didn't
me,
know what the
Selena.
vibe was.
Do a
this is
reading for
my
me.
biggest this is
You
my
reading for
biggest
you?
chat. This
Oh,
is my
sorry.
biggest chat. So if somebody after Rob, if somebody in the chat wants a reading, what the hell? I've never done it before, but there's actually 15, 16 people in my chat, and that's the biggest ever I've had.
Well, hell
Uh,
yeah,
what's your
Don.
PayPal,
You
Don?
deserve
Tell
it.
people your PayPal in case they want to donate.
Oh, it's shit. I don't even know. Um,
I'm just opening
Spinge
my
is gonna put it
cards.
in the chat.
I love
Hey,
you, Spinja. That's our wife. That's my
hey,
wife
nope.
too.
Sorry. Hey, she might put it in the chat.
All right.
Hecky one
I'm
here.
pulling. I'm pulling my cards out.
Uh,
Yeah, and I can hang out for a while. I don't mind. I don't have anything I'm doing tonight. It's just the day after a holiday. I went to the movies. I didn't realize
yeah.
that movie was going to be so long. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. But
Oh,
honestly, good movie. I thought it was going to be a movie for kids. There's a lot of hidden and undertones in that. Like for example, like the animals aren't allowed to talk in that movie. Like so in that movie, supposedly animals have the ability to talk, but like in the society, they've banned animals from talking. So I've wondered like what's the hidden meaning behind that as well. Because I always feel like there's a lot of hidden meanings in a lot of this stuff. I got to pick that
they're
movie apart.
all.
I think we should do that, Don. I think we should do a podcast where we start to like talk about some of these movies and the hidden meanings behind stuff.
You know what?
Oh,
I would actually love to do that with you because I'm actually really good at that. I actually see symbolism and meaning in everything. There's ritual in every single thing now that I have a greater awareness of what's going on.
Well, what do you think the great? Because everybody's heard the story of Wicked. Everybody knows the whole story, and before that, it
Oh
was
my
the Wizard
God,
of
I love
Oz. Like,
Wicked.
so what was your
Yeah.
take on Wicked, and what do you think the hidden deeper meanings are behind it, Miss Selena? Before we do this,
Okay. Let me see my camera on. Hello. Um, I would say for me, it's like I've loved Wicked because I was a weird fucking theater kid since day one. But I would say that, like, for me, what Wicked means is that sometimes the good guy seems like the bad guy. So, like, throughout it all, like, throughout the film, throughout what's going on within the characters, um, the green girl, like the wicked witch, is the only reason why she's seen as wicked is because the mass population sees her as wicked. When reality, she has more morals and understanding of what's right than Galinda, who is the good witch.
yeah,
And because of her understanding and because of the way she interprets the world, she is seen as an outcast, and this is something I often see in reality all the time. Like the people who really understand what's going on are often being pushed out by the people who are afraid of that. And they push them out and they say, well, they don't know what's going on, or they'll project their own wounds upon them as if like those people did those things. In reality, those people are the first people to notice, you know.
Did
And
you also see it at the end, like when she finds out that the wizard has no magic? Did you kind of can make that conclusion to the controllers too, that they're kind of controlling
yeah,
reality with shenanigans, like the
completely.
same way the
Yeah,
wizards are controlling a
it's all
bunch of.
shenanigans. It's all shenanigans, Rob. It's all a smoke and mirrors game. Like everything in our reality is largely constructed by people who are just creating this reality based upon what they think is right or wrong, and their own individual perception on what is right or wrong can be completely off based on what's actually real.
And
But
then
it takes a
do you have
person to
a
have
theory?
their unique individuality to understand that what they said was wrong or right.
Do you have a theory on the animals in that movie about like why they were like the animals could talk, but then they banned the animals from talking, or do you think there was something deeper behind that?
I do. I mean, I think that if humanity really listened to everything that they could really understand and interpret, because the fact is that we are understanding and interpreting things more than we ever have been able to before as a species, because humanity has evolved to the point to where they can hear and learn and listen from these beings that are not human. And in the past, what happened is that like people thought like, well, only humans can talk to other humans, only like things that look like us can speak to us. And that's not true. Like the fact is like every single thing in this reality has a voice, and every single thing has a purpose, and every single thing has a soul behind it. And our ability to understand and be able to interpret what their meaning is entirely independent upon how we are and where we're at within our own soul journey and path.
I love that. Wow, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Before we hit up the ratings, we can't figure out the link for my PayPal. So if people want to donate, donate to Rob because he got kicked off
Donate to
YouTube.
Rob.
Yeah, give it to Rob. Okay.
Give it to Rob.
Thanks. I mean that's all. Dude, you're awesome, Don. You and Spinger are like such nice people. You really are. You know,
You're the
like
best.
I couldn't think of two. You know, I wish we could all visit each other. I really do. But I do feel like I know you guys have heard this in other podcasts, but I'm really starting to think that that's why they put us all. I think we are all star seeds, and I think they put us in all different parts of the world, so you have a ripple effect on other people in your community. So, like for example, like my mom, for example, she's a
You're
normie.
right.
I mean, like she still wants to vote Democrat. Like she doesn't understand that the Democrats are like totally perverted and satanic and stuff. But she's starting to come around to it. You know what I mean? And she's starting to come around to like the topics I talk about on my show. She's not fully there yet, but what I'm starting to have a ripple effect on her, and then she has a ripple effect on other people. So it's like we were meant to be in these places, right? This is why we're all spread out across the country, because we're supposed to have effects on the people in our lives, and then that generates and then before you know it, we that's how we change the world. You know what I mean?
Spot
It's
on.
us, and then we change
Yes,
the world that way. You know?
I
completely,
totally agree.
Rob.
Well,
Sorry, Don. Go ahead.
even with mine, like when the whole SSP thing happened, I didn't know how to explain to my mom what was going on. And I did my best. And she came back to me about a day later and she's like, I understand Sylvia Brown, like the past life thing. And I'm like, that's about the best I could ask. And like, I know not even a lot of people don't even get that understanding, but my mom now understands about like transdimensional experiences in relation to like a past life experience.
That's
Right.
huge.
Yeah. Like I changed my mom.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely. Like we are affecting people.
Yeah. And I think that's what we're meant to do. You know, I really do. I think that's what this whole awakening is about. You know, it's because it's eventually, you know, like I don't think, you know, like I didn't see many videos of people fighting over TVs at Walmart today. You know, like usually every Black Friday I see people like, you know, like throwing people down on the concrete over stuff at Walmart, and you know what I mean, like there's like total havoc at the stores and stuff. I didn't see as much of that this year. I'm sure it's out there, but you know, it wasn't like in my face like it usually is, you know, like and usually that's like a sign. You know, like that's you can gauge that as a sign of like how humanity's evolving, if it is. You know, I'm sure someone's gonna send me some crazy videos after this of people acting out at Walmart. But I mean, like you know, like usually like it's like usually like you see it like front news and center. Like people are usually behaving really badly on Black Friday, and they can't control themselves, and they act a fool at Walmart or wherever else they go. Jason made a good point. He said it's all Amazon now. Yeah, yeah, that yeah. But I'm sure people still probably do the Black Friday thing at Walmart because
Oh,
you
well,
know
they do.
well,
Yeah.
Walmart still has a huge following. Like 'cause I have
Yeah.
it's because I used to work there and I saw how many people came in and out of there. The store I worked at alone was a multi-million store. You know what I mean? And they weren't losing business anytime soon. But I do agree that I agree. But where Jason's right, and I agree with him, is the mall that's right by my house, right where I went to the movies today. The mall has nothing in it anymore. It's a total ghost mall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's happening all over the country. There's more examples of these ghost malls because the stores have cleared out because exactly what Jason said because of Amazon and places like Walmart monopolizing the industry. So it's not just, it's these certain places that gain a monopoly on the industry and then we have to shop at those places because we don't have any other choice. I'll admit it, I shop at Amazon, it's convenient, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to, but I mean, it's like, it's really easy, if they have like the stuff I need, I'm gonna get it because they deliver it right to your door. It's like I don't know, but I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
it's not doing good for us as a society because I feel like we need to be out and about and see people. Like I think I'm sure you guys heard me tell this on my podcast. Like a couple weekends ago, I was at my friend's house, and if you guys heard me say this, sorry, but I was at my friend's house on a Saturday night, and then we went to the gas station afterwards. And I said to the girl, I said, "Where is everyone?" I said, "Everybody's usually out on a Saturday night. Especially it was a really nice night." And she's like, "Man,"
Yeah.
she's like, "4 years ago changed everything." She's like, "Not many people come out anymore." And I think
Yeah.
it's the same way in the city, and that's not good. We need to. You know, Matthew
Yeah.
Morning says I want to go to a ghost mall. What the fuck? They're hilarious, man. No, look it up, Matt. Look up ghost malls on YouTube. You'll see some guy devotes his whole channel. He goes and films them, and they're malls that have they're still open, but they're ghosted because there's not many stores in them, and it's really depressing to walk through one. I was walking through one today. It's like the soul of the mall is ripped out, but they still have a couple things like mine has a movie theater, it has a Bath and Body Works, it has a Macy's, but that's about it. They're having a reptilian agenda or a reptilian exhibit there. It's next to Saturday or Sunday. They're having some kind of reptilian exhibit. Not alien reptilians, but like amphibians. They're having that's how sad it's gotten. They're having reptile exposés and stuff. It's hilarious. I was telling Matt about Pluto TV too the other day when Matt was on my show. You guys don't know. You guys got to check out Pluto TV, man. It's hilarious. It's totally free. It's on your internet. They have 24-hour reruns of the show Cheaters, which I love the show Cheaters. I would always watch Cheaters, and they also have all kinds of crazy great movies from the early 2000s and 90s. They have Charmed on 24 hours, so they have a Charm marathon, which I love the show Charmed because it's about magic and stuff. Yeah, but so I always have some weird, funny stuff I can talk about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ben just said with that movie thing, like breaking down movies, why don't you get your Discord back up and going and we'll have a watch party?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, we are. You can ask Selena. We're getting more and more people in there every day. You guys are welcome to come back on. We're starting to build it up again. There was almost an explosion again, but everybody seemed to get along and stuff. So it's we're getting along. But yeah, what do you think, Selena? Have you seen more and more people? Because she spends more time. I mean, she should be a moderator of it because she knows better what's going on in there than me.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, I think that there are people who are coming, you mean to the Discord, right, Rob?
Yeah, yeah. There's more and more people coming in every
Um,
day.
yeah, there is, and people are coming there to seek community. And like I said, it's all about looking to find connection because people feel so alone, and
Yeah,
why
and,
wouldn't they?
and that's what I
Because
try to make my Discord. I was just gonna say that's what I try to
yeah,
make my Discord group. It's not like a Telegram group where you sign up for the
no,
Telegram group and then you see people's posts. Like in the Discord group, we
yeah,
all interact with each other. We send each other messages. We have watch parties. We watched the Tyson Paul fight in there the other night. It was only me, Jason. It was five people, right? But it was still fun. Jason's really active in my Discord.
yeah,
He's
he is.
I like Jason a lot.
Jason's
Uh,
awesome.
and I'm trying to think, it's like people like that that make the Discord. So if Jason's out there, thanks, man. I appreciate
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the only way that we can really like change the narrative of anything going against us is if we find a way to unite within each other and doing it in a way that allows people to show authentically up as themselves, which is what I think that you do, Rob. Like you really allow people to come in as their true selves and you don't have any expectations, you don't have any biases towards who they should and should not be. And I hope that we carry that over into the Discord because I think that like the more that we realize that we are more united than we're not, then the better that we can be as a community, you
Yeah.
know?
And I'm
Yep.
gonna pay more attention this time. I'm not just gonna let it, fall by the wayside. I think like what happened last time was I got too busy, and then there was some bad actors that showed up in the Discord, and it made everybody want to leave because the bad actors started like doing all kinds of crazy shit. I'm not gonna let that happen. And I don't think Steven will either. Steven, I think Steven's more. We're prepared for it now. And I got to say, big shout out to Bryson for starting that Discord because I don't even know how to start a Discord. Like Bryson started it, he put it in my name, and like it's been we're just trying to make it for what it is. But yeah, Jason said they did Creature Feature last week. So if you guys know the YouTube channel Creature Feature, they play an old '80s horror movie it's like 67 '80s horror movies. They're fun to watch, and yeah, they played that in the Discord last week, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'm glad to see a lot of the people that are usually in my chats are in here. Like Maya Kaya's in here, Schemo's in here, the Andromedan, Angel Wings, Derek Galloway's in here, Emma the Cat and friends. Shout out to all you guys. I miss all you guys. I'll be back soon, hopefully. Hopefully they don't suspend me more. But you guys, you got to come over to Rumble too. Rumble.com/typical skeptic. I don't know what you're waiting for. I never stopped streaming. As soon as I got kicked off of YouTube, I went right to Rumble and I haven't looked back. And guess what? On Rumble, you can say what you want. So, I mean, you guys should really come over to Rumble too.
Yeah, Maya Kaya is here too.
What's that?
Maya Kaya is here too.
Yeah, I love Maya. She's amazing. She's Lebanese like me. She's a awesome. She's from your country. She's from Canada.
Oh,
She's a Canadian.
well, hello.
G'day, eh?
G'day, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Spencer.
Support
Yeah,
Don's channel, guys. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe.
thank you. Do you want to do Rob? And then we actually have like 3 or 4 here that actually wanted readings too as well, Selena, if you want to. Where'd she go? Uh-oh, we lost Selena.
Oh,
There
she'll
she
be.
is.
Here. I'm here. Hold on a second. I got your card, John.
Oh,
You got the uh
oh,
you got the Hanged Man.
and what is that?
So, okay. So basically, and I'm used to typing these out, so sorry if I sound all like stupid, but um I don't follow a specific teacher on how to read these, so I just read them with on my own like comprehension of what the symbolism means. But for me, what I would say for you, Dawn, is that like you're in a position where like your world has been literally turned upside down, and now you are really coming into yourself, like you're embracing it. Like in the past, you would have fallen to the ground, and now you're maintaining ground and you are allowing yourself to show up as authentically and as purely as you possibly can. And if that means that you offend some people, then so be it. In the past, you used to really care about what other people thought and if whether or not like you were doing all right by them. But now you are seeking a higher authority, a higher recognition, and you are in like your whole world's been turned upside down, but you're taking this to your advantage, not to your disadvantage due to your perspective. That was just one card. I hope that helps.
That is right on the nose, Selena. So
Thank
thank you.
you. If you could tell me like who the next person is, I'm like, I don't want nobody asked me a question. I only do blind readings.
Do
Well, we'll
me
do Rob.
real quick. Yeah,
Do you, Rob?
yeah.
Okay, talk amongst yourselves while I shuffle it. I have to like tune in. I'm not.
Talk about herself. She's
It's like
verklempt.
I'm taking with
Oh
you.
dear, I
You
aged.
just gave yourself.
Yeah, I just showed my age. I like 1990s Saturday Night Live.
I am also. I'm old.
You're not old. You're just wise. We're not getting old. We're just
Oh,
getting wiser. You know.
thank you, Robert. I love that. I am very wise. Not old. Not very old. Very wise.
I think it's all time fuckery anyway. I don't think we're nearly as old as what they tell us. Like that's a whole other show, but they've changed the
Oh, I
calendar.
agree with you. Like all
You're
that fucking shit's been manipulated.
yeah,
Yeah.
they changed our light sort. Like all of like it's
Yeah. I am shuffling.
quote old people.
Your card. Rob, you got the strength card. So, Rob, I would say for Rob, like what you're going through is just a testament of like what you have been talking about and how you have grown through this whole experience instead of at one point you might have totally deteriorated and like really seeing the worst in every possible situation. Now you are strong and you're seeing like what things can grow out of, not a perfect situation, and you are feeding and giving strength to those who have supported you for a period of time and allowing yourself to listen to wisdom where in the past you would have been afraid to because you weren't sure whether or not people had your best interest at heart. And that's what I had for you, Rob. I hope that helps.
That was amazing. No, that was wow. This is really good, Selena. These are no that I
Thank
think you were right on the
you.
nose with me and Dawn. You know, I really
I
do.
hope so.
Um,
Okay.
so the next one is another Canadian homegirl, Shiba Winu.
Okay. What's up, Jessica? All right, one second. Let me pull my cards. I have to like reshuffle. So it takes me a second. And I can
Yeah,
do way better. And like anybody who ever wants a reading and is like, I can't afford a read, I'll give you a reading for free. Like, don't you ever worry. If you need help, I will help you. I don't charge anything. This is part of like my mission, my soul. Whatever I'm doing is just to help people unabashedly without, any time you need, without me judging or asking additional questions. Like I can help you, like, because I prefer not to know, because that's how I end up like knowing that I'm more right on the money is when I do blind readings. So I prefer to do blind readings, and I'm just shuffling and like straightening my cards. That's why it's taking longer. Sorry.
no. And Spinja's going to be on Rob's show on Sunday, and she's going to do this.
Yay.
She's going to do questions, but she's going to do it her own way. Like when she does her readings, she asks the cards to tell her a story, and it's as many cards as
Yeah.
is over,
I
right?
think
So
that
that
show will be back on YouTube too. I think. I hope. I think I'm
I want
allowed.
to go on Rob's show too.
that's awesome.
Maybe
This is
guys
my
should do
first.
it together on
This is my
Sunday.
first show, guys. This is my first show. I hope I'm doing good. I was really nervous, but I think I'm doing okay.
You're killing it.
You did it the whole time.
Thank
Oh,
you.
she says hi.
Hi, Spinja. I'm still shuffling, and my cards are all messed up. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like fix them.
No worries.
I hope everybody had in the chat had a good Thanksgiving. You know, whether you eat
I
meat
hope
or you
everybody did too. And I hope like everybody has intentions on like what their next step is and like what they want to do, because this is a really good time, especially this time of year when everyone's hearts are lifted towards gratitude and remembrance of like why and like what makes them like what is the basic motivation behind what they're doing. Like collectively, it's a good time for you to set intentions and create goals, because everybody in the world is creating goals and creating their own intentions on what they want to happen in the next few months. And that's why it's a good time, because you have all this collective support for you, even if you don't realize that people are still collectively supporting you. So I am now shuffling my cards, and I'm going to pull for Sheba.
You got
Okay. Patricia, kiss me. Go ahead, Don. I didn't interrupt you.
no, you weren't. I was just saying Sheba.
Okay.
Matthew gave you a great comment though. Matthew said you're doing an amazing job, Selena.
Thank
You
you.
are.
I'm very nervous. I don't really know. I'm just being myself. Like I'm a fucking weirdo. What can I say?
I
But
told you
I'm a
you were
nervous.
good. I mean, I think you
So
know you're good, but I told you,
Uh,
I tried telling you that you're really good at this for a
it's
long time.
different. It's different to like be good at something and then to come on where everybody's expecting a certain message from you, and then like not always can you deliver the message that people expect to hear, because people want to hear something that is aligned with what their own reality tells them. Hey, if I get this message, that's good, but if I don't get this message, it's not good. And in reality, I'm just like a fucking truth slayer. I'm just like, bitch, this is what's gonna happen. And sometimes people can't handle that.
Yeah.
um and I am pulling your card, Jessica, and you got the Six of Swords. So for Jessica, I would say she's in a time of her life where she's trying to figure out what's, like, she's really invested in something and she's trying to work hard towards a goal, a path, a means of reality. And she is in total control. She is steering the ship. She is the person that is saying, yes, we will do this or we will not do this. But the problem is that she doesn't believe that she has the control that she does. She doesn't realize she has the reality within her fingertips, so to speak. And she doesn't know that what she's doing can sometimes what we think is our ultimate goal can sometimes mean a death to us in a way. So sometimes we imagine our minds, well, if it turned out this way, it would be perfect for me. When in reality, it turns out that way. And other things occurred that we have to deal with then. And so the anxiety comes in with Jessica, where she's in control of everything, but then all these other little things might come in the way where she's like, well, am I doing the right thing or am I not doing the right thing? And for you, Jessica, I would say you are doing the right thing. You just have to have trust within yourself that you are capable of steering your ship.
Did you guys know? I just wanted to interrupt this. That was amazing reading, by the way. Dawn, did I ever tell you, like, every time I think of Canada, I think of John Candy and the movie, The Great Outdoors. That was a great movie. Do you remember that, Dawn? Like,
I do. And if we're gonna squirrel on that for a second, there was a time when I hung out with some less than reputable people, and I ended up in a Satan's Choice biker bar. And behind the bar, when I went to order a beer, there was a picture of John Candy arm in arm with the president of Satan's Choice.
oh yeah, because John Candy,
What?
nose candy. John Candy liked the candy up the nose.
Oh
He
yeah,
did all
like
of it. That's how he died, was nose candy.
No
But
shit.
guess who follows me on Facebook? You guys are never gonna guess who follows me on Facebook.
John Candy's son.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan
Dan
Aykroyd.
get
I
the
love
fuck
Dan
out of here.
Aykroyd.
I talked to him, and my friend Dan told my friend's name's Dan too. My friend Dan said it's the fake one. I said no. I said you guys don't understand. I said Dan Aykroyd is big in the UFO community. He's friends with David Sarita, and I've had David Sarita on my show many times.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that Dan Aykroyd would follow me. He probably heard
That
about David Sarita, and now and when I talked to him, he said, "Hey Robert," he said, "this is my personal account." He's like, "Not many people know about this." He's like, "I follow some of the channels I like." He didn't try to get money from me or anything like that. He left it at that. And I didn't bother him at all. You know what I mean? And that was it. You know what I mean? I figured I'll just let him fucking follow me. I don't care.
that
I mean, it was cool to talk to Dan Aykroyd if that was really him. And I actually think I do think it might have been him. I don't know.
it wouldn't surprise me because he is a big UFO buff. Like he's into this, so it would not shock me at all.
Yeah, yeah. I was supposed to have David Sarita back on the show too. David Sarita, you should talk to him, Don. I can help you get him on your show. He has an amazing mind. He has a mind like you are. He just thinks about these like very complex things. And I love David Sarita, man. He's a great dude.
Yeah,
I got it. Yeah, I'm going to
I,
introduce you to him and Robert
Yeah.
Sullivan. I think you should have both of them on your show. That would make good shows. Robert Sullivan for the occult movie stuff, and David Sarita for the UFO stuff. They're
awesome.
both really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I man. Selena. The next one
Yes.
is Rocket Baby 777.
Ratchet baby, what's up, Jenna? Okay, hold on. One second. I have to give my shout outs. I am like so close to Ratchet Baby, and like we like talked on the phone and we like really connected. It was a very beautiful experience. I don't know if you've ever like thanked God for meeting somebody, but like personally, I thank God for meeting Don and Spinja and Rob and Ratchet Baby, who hasn't came out as like, like a big person yet, but she has like so much knowledge and information that like it when she's ready, like she's gonna like blow the lid off stuff. And yes, I will read for her, my love. Let's see. I pulled boom, 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 boom. Two of Cups. All right, Ratchet Baby, aka Jenna. I can see for you that you're coming into a partnership or a relationship that's gonna like not only are you going to be feeding into them, but they're feeding into you. So in the past, you've had a lot of relationships where they felt really one-sided, where people have taken and taken from you, and now it's your time to be fed into too. Like you're going to have people that are going to see you exactly for who you are and want to give to you what you need as well. And it's a partnership. And at first, it feels scary because it's unknown, but ultimately it ends up being this beautiful thing that you can stand shoulder to shoulder on and be your best versions of yourself. I hope that helps.
That was good. And I hope that resonated with Ratchet Baby. And here's another person that we know because of Rob.
Yes.
Angel,
Angel Wings. Okay. I love
who is
Angel
also
Wings
a very
too.
talented reader.
Yeah, Angel Wings is fucking awesome and so pure. Let me shuffle my cards. Angel Wings. Eh. There was a period of time I couldn't read the cards on my own. I had to like look everything up. And
Benja, Benja had the same experience. Her first deck just did not jive with her. She couldn't hit
yeah,
them, and she ended up getting a different deck. And it just seems she's so much more in tune with this. I think it's a frequency.
yeah, I think so too. And Angel Wings, I got for you the Four of Wands. So, and like keep in mind, I'm not like a professional or anything. But what I get from this card is that like you have met someone and you have decided that you have aligned in the same type of goals and experiences and you want to move forward and make something work for the greater good of humanity. And it's a type of celebration where you're doing that. You're both in a line with each other and you're recognizing the things that you have that are worth fighting for, the people that are worth fighting for, yourself. That might be one of the things that are worth fighting for. But together you realize like something greater than yourselves that you can do together. And that's what I got for you is Four of Wands. That's my reading.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So next is yet another one from Rob's group, the Andromedon. And this is your
Mm.
first time. So thank you for watching, bud.
Hi, Andromedan. I love you. I'm glad you didn't ask me what ship you're in because I don't know. Uh, because I just read energy. I don't read. I don't have the capacity or ability to read any specific things. I wish that I did. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm just pulling one card, so everybody knows. I could do way more in depth. And if anybody does want a reading from me in depth, they can email me. My email is selenawright16@gmail.com, and I will totally talk to you and read for you for free because that's where I'm at right now. I just feel like I'm gaining experience and growing and changing, and that's where we're all at. And however I can give back to you, gives back to me ultimately. And I'm pulling your card, Andromeda. And I'm very in touch with you, Andromedan. Seven of Swords, Andromedan. I feel like you have certain things that you are really trying to keep within you and protect. And then there are these other things that you decided to let go to the wayside because you know that those other things aren't as important as those things that you carry within your hands, those things that you feel like can keep and help you propel to the future. And you feel almost a sense of nostalgia leaving them behind, but you know that your only way forward is to set them down at the moment, and that you're pretty cheerful and joyful in what you are doing. And it's almost like you have an expectation to come back to them too. So it's not like you're leaving these things behind, but you're going to be coming to a returning to them, if that makes sense. And this is just one card, guys. I'm only doing one card, and that's what I got.
You're just killing it, Selena. Like these are amazing readings. You should
I hope
definitely.
so. I hope so.
You should
I'm trying my best.
um, the next one is Melinda Crocker, and she actually donated to Rob. And if anybody else does, I know Wu put the link to his PayPal in, and if he's still listening, can you do it again, please? And if
And
I missed anybody, please put it in the chat.
oh yeah, she
Okay.
did. Thank you, Melinda. That was nice of her.
Thank
Wow,
you, Melinda.
that's
All
awesome.
right.
Thank you guys. That's amazing.
We love you guys. Thank you for supporting and showing up. So, and I'm super nervous that I just like been able to do this, but
Jason said the RSO hit me. It did because I grabbed a bag of popcorn. I had the munchies. It's this, dude. If you guys can get this at your local Jollar store, this is really good. I wish these guys would sponsor me. Sweet Chaos, but it's non-GMO, no high fructose corn syrup, and it's made with cane sugar. It's like drizzled. It's like holiday popcorn. It has like peppermint crunch. It says it's good, dude. It's good. Like, and it's not that bad for GMOs. It's organic popcorn and stuff. So, you know,
mm,
um, yeah. I wish,
yummy.
but I digress. Yeah. Mm.
I love when people say I digress. I digress. You're
I
so
just
funny.
I like having fun on podcasts.
Yeah,
I like when
I
we
me
can talk
too.
about whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Fun. It makes it
totally.
like the audience like it too. It
Yeah, it's fun.
sometimes I could be have like the best guest on, and it could go really well. But like some of the videos that do better are like when like the
Hmm.
videos like this. When people like
Yeah.
you know.
Um, for Melinda Crocker, I got the magician, and I would say like Melinda is really stepping into her true embodiment of her higher self in this reality and in this plane, and that like anything that she can like think into reality, or anything that she like turns her attention to, is going to come into reality. And it just takes her attention, her focus, and her ability to recognize and realize what's the best for it to manifest into her reality. So something really great's going to happen to her. I see like something big happening, an unexpected opportunity, something that she knows, like something she's worked on for a long time, coming into a final fruition. I might sense something that she's been working on for a bit finally happening for her. So good job, Melinda. I got that card for you, the magician.
Yeah. Do you want to pull one for Spinja?
Of course I do. My wife, Spinja. One second. Let me my cards.
You're doing great, Selena. This is amazing. You're really
Thank
showing
you.
off. I think
I'm
people are gonna.
super
I think a lot of
nervous.
people are gonna hit you up. You know,
I
and
will.
you're.
I mean, I don't want people like, nobody has to hit me up to like pay me. Like if they really have a question and they really need help, like I will totally help them. Like, like don't allow that to be a barrier, because like I've been in a position myself many times where I haven't had money, I haven't had options, and I've like suffered alone, and I don't want anyone ever to have to suffer alone whenever there's an opportunity to reach out. And
I
I'm
think
right here if
that's such a
anybody
good
needs
point
help.
you made, Selena. I think that's why we want to do this with community and like I have
Yeah, we
friends that
do.
anybody to suffer. We want everybody to prosper, you know? It's not just about me having a channel and making videos or anybody. It's about us all, you know, our whole community thriving, you know? Because
Yeah,
it's in our hands
exactly.
to change the world. And people can't change the world if they're suffering, you know?
That's true. Because you know what they say is like, if you're too busy like surviving, you don't have time to dream,
Yeah,
and what we need to find is time to dream. If we can learn to dream for ourselves and like really believe in it like we used to when we were little kids, that's where we're going to find the most bliss, you
yeah,
know?
I agree. 100%.
And
Yep.
for Spinja, I got the nine. I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way, but I got the Nine of Cups for Spinja, and I feel like Spinja is in a position where life has basically been giving her everything that her heart has desired, even though it hasn't been the exact way that she's wanted it. But she's learned all the lessons that the universe has been throwing at her. And the next step is a total completion and realization of her goals, her dreams, her desires, and that she's stepping into that. Like she's no longer manipulated by people, places, things, by masses, by disturbances. She's like okay on her own. And because of the security she has within her own beingness, she's able to manifest beautiful, amazing, wonderful things and wealth, abundance, and everything she could ever dream of is just like right around the corner. That's
I
what I
love
see for
that.
her. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, within a week, the truck that got written off in her T-bone accident has been replaced and is now sitting in the driveway. So we're manifesting like a motherfucker.
I know you are. I know you
Awesome.
are.
Yeah.
The growth I've seen between you and Spinja over the last few years has been amazing. You know, I've got to see you guys spiritually progress. Like, you know, like you guys have made up. Like, I mean, it's interesting because, like, John, I think you said you weren't even in this that long, and you already came in with a lot of knowledge. You already knew a lot of stuff, but then lately you've just been kind of like really progressing. Like, you know, you're really expanding your knowledge, and that's amazing, man. You know, like, you know, I
It,
always say to people, never stop searching because, like, you're eventually gonna find answers. You know?
yeah. A lot of it is really weird, and it kind of goes back to the conversation we were having about different frequencies of our existences, right?
Yeah,
Um, there's a lot of shit that I know that I just woke up and knew.
yeah,
I'm I seriously, this goes into alters and all of that stuff. I seriously feel like I'm absorbing alters or learning from other realities because like I'll have like a
Me
transdimensional
too.
experience and like the one day I woke up and had a basic understanding of quantum physics. And I know school level has nothing to do with intelligence, but I'm a high school dropout, right? I did not study physics, much less quantum physics, and then all of a sudden I just understood it. I understand algorithms. Like it's just these weird gnosis that I wake up with, and it's like, oh, well, I bet it means this, and I'll look it up, and it's exactly what I'm thinking. And it's like I don't know what's going on, but it's absolutely fascinating.
that is,
Yeah.
that is, that's amazing. That's
I
amazing.
think that,
And that means you're getting
sorry.
downloads. That's important. That means you're getting downloads from a higher source. That means something really wants you to have that information. Like it's you know, I really truly believe that, you know? Or you're in
I,
touch with your higher self or something, or an aspect of that, you know?
yeah. I think that we're all in touch with a quantum field of knowledge that we don't realize, and it's within our grasp. We hear like little hints from it all the time, but that as human beings, we don't have the realization that, hey, this information that I just received is not coming from within me and it's not coming from any other known source that has this information. So where is it coming from? And the truth is, all this Akashic knowledge exists within a wave of information. And once we reach a certain frequency, we can tune into that because really reality is based upon sound and light and just things that not things that we can put into human language. And I feel like Don and Spinja are reaching out and getting this information from a level of a higher source that we don't understand because as humans we're taught like we don't have the capability of doing so when in reality all humans have that capability. We This is part of evolution It's just part of where we're going as humanity. And we all have that within ourselves to reach out and get information that we need and want at the time that we need it, at the exact time that we need it.
I think you're absolutely right, Selena. Um, we've been going a couple of hours now, Rob. Before we take off, do you want to tell everybody what you got upcoming? And you've also started with some new products. I'd love to hear about that before we take off as well.
Oh, I'm really just promoting this one website right now, Cosmic Nootropics, because I'm trying to hit my monthly commission. So like I'm at like $64 commission with them. So like for like if I sell a couple products, I might hit over $70 commission. And they just sell like cognitive enhancers, anti-aging. They sell peptides and stuff like that. That's one of my affiliates. But then as far as like, I got a new thing I'm doing on Saturdays. I'm doing it with Nicole. She goes by Coley UFO. She knows a lot of people in like the mainstream UFO community. So we decided to do like a partnership where we're going to be interviewing people every Saturday. It started this Tuesday. I interviewed Jesse Marcel III from the Roswell crash. Or no, I'm sorry, his grandfather was in the Roswell crash, right? Or not in it, but his grandfather was a key witness to the Roswell crash. And that was like really mainstream, like UFO stuff. It wasn't very fringe, but I mean, I think tomorrow we're going to interview some guy from the Unity Project, and then we have another one with Preston Dennett. So I'll try to stream it to one of my channels tomorrow, whether it's YouTube or Rumble. She allows me to, so it'll be on mine, hopefully too, and hers too, and yeah, and then she has a big following on X too, so we'll be on X live too, which I'm not real big on X, but I mean, I'm learning about it, so yeah.
I actually caught that episode and I thought you absolutely killed it, even with the technical difficulties you guys ended up having. Like that, you recovered and ran that all the way in, bud. Like that was
Uh,
a great show.
Thanks, man. That means a lot because I was worrying if I did all right. Like I was like, yeah, thank you. It was weird. Like yeah, hopefully she's ready tomorrow. Hopefully she has a mic and everything. Like I mean, like I think that's what she said. She said it was a mic problem. So I'm hoping that like tomorrow she can be a part of the interviews and stuff because I don't want to do it alone. The whole point was us to do the podcast together. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of I'm so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um,
No. And I
thank,
gotta say, I'm loving your content lately. And like Matt Morney, and again, I'm gonna toot his horn. Like just killed the reading for me the other day. Like when he was going through my health issues, he touched on gallbladder, and I hadn't even said that it was actually my I told you before the show, it was my gallbladder that was the culprit that started it all, the ruckus with my heart the other day. Something went on with my gallbladder. It inflamed the lining around my organs that pushed and caused reduced circulation, which dropped my blood or my heart rate and uh, blood pressure down to 1/3 normal levels. And I went away for a second. But no, Matt absolutely nailed it. So,
oh wait, I got to tell you something then, because I have liver gallbladder issues, and Matt told me about this, and I think he would actually. Okay, so this is the first thing I take. This is Tudka. This is an absolute essential for if you have liver gallbladder problems. Like I would check with your doctor first, but I mean, you can't trust these mainstream physicians. So I use this. I haven't went back to the doctor. It seems that this with energy healing seems to take away my pain in my liver. Then the second thing I take is this Stonebreaker. It's Chonka Piedra, and I can give you the names of all this stuff. Matthew Morning recommended all this. That's what I'm saying is, I take this, and then the third thing I take is this is an absolute necessity too. NAC, N-acetylcysteine. This is all for like liver gallbladder function. Like I said, that along with energy work has got me very far, a lot further than mainstream medical got me. But then I wasn't having problems like you, Don, where like the gallbladders was affecting my heart. It's just like the gallbladder and liver were causing me pain. So I just, wanted to treat that pain. I don't know what it would be. I would talk to Matthew if I were you, because I think he can help you. Like I definitely would talk to Matthew. Like I wouldn't even wait to do it. I would message him as soon as this is over.
okay.
I mean, I'm sure he'll respond. He's a very good guy. He's a very nice person. And if anybody knows the body, it's him. I would trust him with like, and my mom or my family members, dude. Like he's that good. And he's that trustworthy too. He's
Me
very,
too. He
yeah.
is.
Well, Selena gave me a link to one of his clearings and sessions, and like I felt it within like minutes of like him starting this group clearing. I was like, holy shit, I can literally feel something going on, right? And as he was talking us through the clearing, it literally made a physical difference. So
Yeah, it does.
I fully believe he's that talented, like
I do
100%.
too.
Yeah.
He's
Um,
100% legit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Selena, do you want to let everybody know where they can get a hold of you as well if they do want to talk to you or have questions or want to talk about the universe or reading or anything because you are brilliant?
Thank you. I would say you can email me. My email is selenawrites16@gmail.com. I don't have anything set up for like payment or anything. I'm just here for anybody that needs someone to listen, like I think like I'm not anything special. The only thing that is that I understand I have awareness of humanness and how hard it can be to navigate our feelings and emotions during this time. And if anybody needs help or support in any way at all and I can help them, I'm willing to help them.
That's really awesome. And I know you've helped me before, you've helped Rob before, and you are definitely very talented as well. Like, I didn't tell you this, Rob. She was doing some work for Spinja. I almost said her real name on Spinja and I, but individually. And she's like, "Oh, you're sitting next to each other." And it's like, how the because we were both individually talking to her, and our house is about 100 feet long, right? We live in a trailer. We could have been in any different location, right? But she's like, "Oh, you're sitting beside each other," and we just kind of looked at each other like, "Holy shit!" Okay, yeah, legit. So
yeah. See, I always call Selena the magic. She's like she's like the little magical white witch. She's like, she's an ace to have in your pocket. Like she's amazing. Like she's like seriously. And I don't say that about many
Thank
people.
you.
Like Selena is a great person, hands down. Up and like I would. That's another person I would trust with my mom. That's Selena. I definitely. I give you all the props in the world. There's so many nights where she's healed me, where I needed healing, and like and like her and Priscilla, like they have this ability. And Matthew, like I said, Matthew Morning can do it too, and I think Angel Wings can do it too. And they all have that
Yeah.
ability to touch people, like like they can reach out and touch someone, like. And I think that's a testament to like how good you guys' psychic abilities got, because you have to reach a certain level of awareness to be able to do that. Like, I know they say everybody can do it, but not everybody can do it. You know what I mean? Like, like only certain people have reached those levels, where you can actually tap into someone's energy field and help them. That's amazing.
I I totally agree, and that's actually
Yeah.
the next thing. Spin is signed up for a Reiki course, so she's gonna give that a try as well.
Oh, that's the beginning of it. So she'll be doing it
That's
too.
awesome.
That's the beginning of it. I think that's how I think Christy Campbell's an energy healer too. That and she started with because she's a Karuna Reiki master. She's
Christy
so
Campbell's very talented healer. Yes, she is.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah.
right, you guys. I want to thank both of you so much for coming on, and I want to thank the typical skeptic audience for popping over to my channel for the night because that was just awesome. Like I said, that is the most people and most activity I think I've ever had. So love to all of you guys. And I will just wrap this up. And like I told you at the beginning of the show, I'm running this off of a cell phone. So all I can really do from here is hit end and I'll just end the stream. So I'm not being rude, just cutting it off. I just don't have another way to stop it. Uh,
That's fine.
so I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank you guys for coming on. And if you can go outside because it's a lot better than sitting in front of a screen. Love you.
For sure. Love
Thanks,
you.
Don.